This conference will now be recorded.
All right, what is the difference between local flow action and connector flow action? So this is one of the frequently asked question. Either the question can come for the scenarios or given one of the scenario, like I do need to perform an action and I doesn't want to move that current assignment to anyone else. Okay, so what does that, how you will do that? Okay, so the scenario is, I will repeat once again. So I do have an assignment, I do have an action to perform, but that assignment where I am, I need to be there itself. So what, how you will do that? So that is something possible via the local flow action. Okay, so you are not moving that assignment, you are not moving the assignment from one operator to another operator, or you are still being there itself in the same assignment. Like, let's say there is a action like you need to update the urgency or you need to update the SLAs. Okay, so that kind of actions we will call via local actions. But whereas if you try to perform some action which transfers your assignment to another smart ship, okay, or else you are moving from one particular assignment to another assignment, you are transferring the assignment to one person to another person, such in such scenarios we will call the connector flow action. Okay, so the flow action remains the same, there is no separate flow actions available, so the flow action rule is same. We just have an additional option available which is going to determine whether it is a local action or is it a connector action. All right, so let's go to the Designer Studio app. So I have three cases. We'll go to one of the case, flow action. So you can see here, this is the first flow action for the case type, case A. And here, if you go to the action tab under the flow action rule, you can see there is an option called used as local and connector actions. So the flow action can be utilized as only local action or only connector action, or it can be used via local as well as connector action. So you can use, by default this is selected, if there is any flow action created, by default this is the option by default selected, which supports both as a local and connector action. Now let's try to use that in the flow and see how the behavior will be. So let's say if I have a case type, and here I did have the flow action called from this process. Okay, so there is a connector action that it is calling. So here you can see whenever we are keeping the assignment inside the assignment, we are calling for this is because of a screen flow. So in the screen flow we will generally call the flow action in the assignment. Okay, so in the assignment properties we will call the flow action, but this is also considered as a connector action. Okay, so here if you come down, by default the screen flow doesn't allow you to perform the local actions. Okay, so here you cannot see the local actions. So now let's go and see on the case type. So here you have these optional actions that you see, there is an optional action. So now you can add this optional action here. This is a local action again. Okay, so here let's say you have a Pega out of the box actions that you can use it, like enter all tasks. Okay, or add attachments. In general we will add the attachments, right? So here, yeah, so we can use this add attachments local action so that it is going to add the attachment. So at this particular screen flow level you can see at all the assignment level, if you have multiple assignments, at each and every assignment you can see this action available. So this is a local action, so you can perform, your assignment remains there itself. Okay, So whereas if you go to your process flow, okay, so this is the primary stage and here comes the process flow. So there is an option to call the local action here as well. And there is one more place that you can see, which is on the smart shape. So here on this smart shape, you have this option to call, let's take an assignment. Okay, so here I will say, so to current operator, and here you see there is an option to call the local action. So here I will add another action, something like py transfer case ownership. Okay, so this is going to transfer the case ownership, but the case will remain, the assignment remains here. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, fine, let's try that itself. I transfer case ownership. So if it is transferring the current case, let's try to see this. But there should be a connector defined on the assignment coming out on the connector coming out of the assignment shape. So here we need to have an assignment called, let's say py approval. Okay, save this. All right, so now let's create a case type. Okay, so here I have a case A. Okay, so since I have added one add attachments actions, so you can see on click of actions, so there is an option called add attachments. So we can see this add attachments local action is available for us. Okay, so here there is this UI is something different, but here this by default we are going to discuss about the local action. So here the add attachments option is going to add the attachments. So let's try once the portal, create case A, let's test description, continue. Okay, and here if I click on actions, so you have a transfer case ownership, and on click of it, so you can see you cannot transfer the ownership when the current case has no owner or the owner is not an operator. Okay, so since this is not having that operator, I cannot do it. So let's try some other action item. So by default, the local actions that you perform, it remains there itself. Okay, so now let's try to take and add attachments here. Submit, save it. Okay, so let's try once again. Actions, refresh. Okay, so you have this add attachments over here. So you can add an attachment to this case type. Hmm, okay, all right. So we just added one attachment over here. There is no refresh action happened. Let's refresh it. Okay, so you can see there is an attachment added over here. Okay, so this way we can add a local action. So the local action places that are available is like one on the process flow, you can see on the assignment. Okay, so on the assignment smart shape, you have an option to add the local actions. So whenever you add a local action, it remains on the same assignment. It doesn't move that particular assignment. Okay, but whereas the connector actions will move your place. Okay, so you can transfer the assignment. Okay, that means the smart shape is going to further. Okay, so whenever there is a connector is happening, so connector flow action is executed, it is going to move your control from one smart shape to another smart shape. Okay, so that is the difference. But whereas the local action remains at the same place wherever you are in. Okay, so this is the local action. So local action can be called in the case type at a stage level as well. Okay, so here if you call the local action, so at all this stage, okay, so and for the entire process that it executes, this action is going to apply. Okay, and if in case you are calling at a case type level as well, so you have an option to call a optional actions. So here you can see the case wide actions. So this is applicable at the overall case level. So you can see this py update case details and py change stage flow actions available for us. Okay, so this is at a case wide level, change stage update details. All right, so this is the places where we are going to call the local actions and appropriate flow actions.